Welcome back to Lancescurv. I'd say the Lancescurv show, but I'm going to stop saying that. Lancescurv show. Show kind of seems commercialized to me, and I don't want to come off that way. I want to be more heart to heart. This is not a production. This is not something merely for hits or to make money or whatever narcissistic reasons people get YouTube pages for. Not everybody, but far too many. So I'm just going to say Lancescurv. I'm that guy that likes to talk. I like to talk about different things. I like to go in on human nature. I like to go in with surgical precision. You've heard me say these things time and time again. And I have to say that I've come to the end of a wonderful and very productive day. But as always, even when it's time for me to turn in, my brain is working. I'm stimulated. And I'm always stimulated when I get communications from people all over the world about the different topics that we talk about. So this is not just a black I hate whitey channel. This is not a gossip channel just to generate hits from lies. I will talk about celebrities only if I could find an angle to help to bring light a righteous message. But there's always a method to my madness. And like I said on the show, speaking about the new travel protocols in Ghana for international travelers to and fro with the taking the jab, I want it to be different. I want the show to be broad, which I said I was going to say show anymore, but I'll say it again, right? It's going to take a while for me to get that out of my system, but the basic vision is there. And it's not just a one-way Charlie type of thing. Whatever comes up that pertains to black people worldwide and things on the human situation worldwide as it affects us, I'm going to talk about it. I could talk about sports for 10 videos and turn around and speak about sex trafficking. I could talk about pedophilia. I could talk about cryptocurrency. I can talk about getting in shape. I can talk about the drawbacks of religion. I could talk about a lot of things. I don't know everything, but I could hang with anybody in any conversation. And I don't verbally plagiarize. What you hear me say down through the years is shot from the hip and straight from the heart. Therefore, I was very touched. I won't mention any names, but I was very touched by someone who took the time to let me know how much our presentations and our expressions here mean to them. And I really take that to heart. I'm sitting here dog-tired, wanting to go to bed, but I couldn't go to bed without speaking on it, because I wouldn't be able to sleep. That's just the way I am. I'm emotional, but like I said, that's just passion and power that you can direct in a focused way. You see what I mean? So I don't take that as a negative thing. I have unlimited power that way because I'm connected to a bigger system, bigger than me, and I realize that. I, by myself, am not much, but I have a purpose here, and as long as I connect myself to nature and to what the Creator wants me to do, I therefore become a force of nature. And as I've said before in the past, I am that tornado. I am that earthquake. I am that bolt of lightning. I am that hurricane. I am that tsunami. I am all of those things. That snowstorm, that blizzard, that's me. And if you realize how powerful you are, you realize that is us. That is not just me. If you hold up a thin piece of toilet paper and I say punch it, right? Your fist will go right through it. The toilet paper is not that powerful by itself. But if I put that toilet paper up against a brick wall and tell you to swing as hard as you can to hurt that toilet paper, you're going to break your fist every time. So we have to understand that it's not us. So we can't take credit with our narcissistic selves thinking that we are this and we are that and I am this and I am that, and get arrogant when you have a few people that follow behind you because of the trust in the plagiarized words that you share, but you're just a toilet paper. But when that toilet paper is backed up by the brick wall that is your Creator in the natural system, it's indestructible, but it's not you. But when you are arrogant as that piece of toilet paper, guess what? You're only good for wiping somebody's backside at the end of the day. Never forget that. So I keep myself in a certain place of realizing where I stand, what my purpose is, and if I appear to be mighty, it's not by my own doing. Okay? So there are a lot of things that we need to focus on out here and consider that we overlook unless we are in a certain situation. And we have to be very caring for our sisters and brothers out here in the battlefield of this world that shouldn't be. You see, we have two worlds, as I always say. We have the engineered man-made world that's not made to serve you. You are made to serve it in their mind. And then you have nature's world made by the Creator that has taken care of all of your needs and all of your wants. If you would just pull yourself out of that engineered system and stay connected and realize what a wonderful world it can be. But even as we try to leave the engineered system, oftentimes we have a partial foot in it and are still affected in it. I still need money to do certain things because I am not completely out of the system. I have physically moved myself shrewdly like a piece or a king or a pawn on the chessboard to set up something else later on, and I made it in time, but it's not over yet, and the process is not finished yet. So I could never get arrogant and never will, and I have to sacrifice lots of my life for my brothers and sisters so that what little I have learned, I'll share it and pass it along sincerely, not looking for anybody's profit, but I am supposed to do this. I don't know why, I don't know how. Sometimes I look back at my life and say, how did I get here? What is my purpose, or what is my further purpose? What is beyond this? What more do I have to do? What is required of me? I know my time on this earth is ticking down, as it is with all of us, but I don't look at it that way. I'll be moving from this room to another room. I'll be moving from this place to another place. So I'm not afraid of that. When I was in the third grade, I wasn't afraid of the fourth grade, even though I got a peek into the fourth grade books as a third grader and said, oh man, the work is getting harder when you get into the fourth grade. Same thing in the fourth grade. Look at the fifth grade work. Oh man, the fifth grade work is hard. But I got out of it. I got through it. Put your head down. I don't mean put it down and bow it down in shame, but I mean to put your head down. Put your head down and focus on the task in front of you of what you're supposed to do. So many of us pick things that we want to do because of the glamour involved in it. But we don't want to be that person behind the scenes up at the midnight hour cleaning up somebody else's mess, living a nondescript life. A lot of us want our name up in lights so bad, but even in that you have to put in work. A lot of us think we could just take a few pictures on Facebook or sing something or do something stupid on Instagram because we get a lot of hits and likes. That means we're a star. And so what? Does that pay your bills? Does that enlighten you? Does that cause you to be someone who can help millions with the leverage of your word? Muhammad Ali, back in the day, he knew that all eyes were on him. With his fame, with his notoriety, with his being so public, he can say things over and above the media and the press, and it will go out there because he spoke for the downtrodden. He spoke for the voiceless. You'll be very blessed when you do that, instead of turning your back on the very people who need you, and you live this so-called high life for a couple of decades, if that much, before you're going on out of here and they forget all about you because you didn't do anything righteous. So that being said, there was an email sent to me. I'm not going to get into details, but it let me know and reminded me of situations that I've seen and situations that I have been in to different degrees. And it was a young lady who spoke about her love for her husband, but he has an issue with crack cocaine. And she mentioned how people in her family or in her circle don't understand how you can't just cut off from a person once you love them, once you've committed to them, once you've connected to them. And they take that route unnecessarily in life, which is very, 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 very difficult. But when we see the statistics of those who have fallen to crack cocaine or methamphetamine or all of these other different drugs out there, remember, for every one statistic, every one person, they're not here alone. Maybe some of them are. But they have mothers, they have fathers, they have uncles, they have cousins, they have brothers, they have sisters, they have girlfriends, and they have wives. They have sons, they have daughters. So for every one person who is just a faceless statistic that you read in the newspaper or the magazine or hear about on YouTube or any social media, you have people around them that they're connected to that are affected too. So don't feel because you haven't fallen victim to a drug addiction that you can just say some insensitive things. And even in my joking or which I'm never venomous, but if I have stepped on your toes or hurt you by saying something about anybody who's addicted to drugs, I do apologize. I can't remember every single video. I can't remember every single audio, every single recording, because I've been doing this for a very, very long time. And we're not just talking once a week. We're talking several times a day. But I do understand that pain, because crack cocaine has robbed me of my brotherly relationship with my blood brother, 11 years older than me. I will say this still, with all that drug has taken away from him, there is a side of me that still sees his greatness. There's a side of me that still sees how charismatic he is. How could I say it? He's phenomenal. But there's something that happens to a person, whether it's something, not a character flaw, but some type of damage, some type of hurt that's there as a pre-existing condition, that when they touch that drug and they feel good from that drug, because yes, from what I hear, it is a great feeling, but it's not a good thing. You know, a chocolate cake tastes good, and you put it in your mouth and it's, oh my God, this thing is so good. Do you really limit yourself? When you first get a piece of chocolate cake, you want the next piece. You're eating the one piece and you're peeking over the plate, and as soon as that little old lady at the banquet reaches for that last piece, you're mad at her like you want to run her over inside. So could you imagine the pain of that person? Could you imagine when that person gets addicted to these drugs and it comes out within the family? And they're, oh no, I hope this is not true, but you see the behavior. You're a mother and you think the best for your child. And yes, I said child. You could be a 30-year-old man, a 40-year-old man, but your proximity to your parents and to that mother that has carried you for 9 months doesn't change. You might get locked up a couple times, but that mother still sees her son or her daughter as her child. And it hurts no less because that person is grown now. But this thing wasn't supposed to be. This thing happened, and by design, especially in the black community, and I know it's all over, all races, but I'm focusing on the black community because that was the intended target. And it only became something when it spread over to other communities like the Caucasian communities. But that was a serial hit. That was a targeted hit on us. On us. And it took out so many people. I can't say it's just my generation. It's still working right now. It hasn't stopped. And it hasn't been reduced. Don't believe it. Because the media doesn't so-called talk about it. The so-called mainstream media doesn't talk about it as much. HIV is still out there. How much do you hear about HIV now with the numbers in the newspapers? But the focus was on us. It started as a gay male disease, right? But then for some reason it got to black women between the ages of late 30s and 44 years old. And they put that out there. They changed the face of it. Were we really the intended target? As much as they throw on us, we still multiply and we still rise. But I will say, for the loved ones of those who are on drugs, there is no rehab for a broken heart. There is no place you can go to get away from that pain and disappointment and oftentimes embarrassment. And sometimes you look within you, say, did I do something wrong? Could I have done something a little more to stop this situation? Not only is it a chemical thing, it's a spiritual thing. You have to understand there's a world around us that you just don't see. There are spirits, y'all. There are energies around us that we just don't see. And if you had the eye to physically see it with your eye or your spiritual eye, you'd run in the house and never want to come out. You'd run in the house and probably run out if you saw it was sitting up in there with you and what it really looked like and what its intentions were for your life. Evil is real, y'all. Wickedness is real. But we tend to think of everything as being rosy. This is spiritual warfare. This world is a test. And sometimes, and oftentimes, those who have fallen, it's not just drugs that'll make us fall. It's sex addictions, gambling addictions, alcoholism, anger management problems, all different types of things. And the chemicals have made us where we're open to all types of things. I learned the other day that people can take or have so much trauma in their life that as time goes by sometimes, and it seems like everything is okay, the trauma remains brewing if undealt with. And you can have a person on a job that was always kind and professional, and one little thing may happen that is very light according to us, and they flip because we have some people who the littlest thing could make them visit that place of trauma and go completely buck wild. And we might look at them like they're crazy, but these are the things now in this modern day that we have to face. Could you imagine? Years ago, and I know slavery was around. Let's just go way back before we even had to deal with these demons. We didn't have nervous breakdowns like we do now. We didn't have the complex issues that we have now. As we've gotten advances with drugs, is it really an advance? The only thing I can see temporarily is something for pain. When you get into an accident, when you have a mishap that way, to take something to take that pain away immediately, because there ain't no herb that you're going to put on your leg that, you break a leg or something. I understand that. And if you want to grin and bear it, that's your choice. So be it. I'd like to say that, but I don't think I would if I felt some of this pain that I see people having when they get in the car accidents or they take falls or different things. To each his own. You make a decision. I'm not hating you for that. But what I'm saying is that we've made so many so-called advances, yet we've regressed. We've fallen behind. What's up with that? We have more knowledge on so much, but yet we've fallen so far behind. Yet we overlook the human aspect. That mother, that wife, that sister. I know the brothers are hurting when their male family members hurt, but let's look at the sisters. It's a different kind of proximity. When you are a woman, when you have an older brother that you look up to, or a younger brother that looks up to you and you admire them and you see them coming along and developing into a man. When you are a wife and you wholly commit yourself to this person that you see all of these great things in, and something happens, and they reduce now to what the world will say, oh, that's just another crackhead. No, it's not. That's the man you love. That's the man that you had hopes and dreams for. You just can't dump him. And you know that if it takes 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 50 years, you're not going to leave that man's side. Even when they disappoint you and the thought crosses your mind and you come back into reality and you say, you know what? I'm not doing this. Even if their whole family turns their back on them, some people will call you a rank fool. But you know, within your heart, with the integrity that you have, that once you made a commitment, you're going to follow through. And that's our test. We all have different tests in this world. We all do. Mine might have been something different. You see? but it doesn't make it any less. But look at the pain of that mother who, when she has memories of holding her child in her arms when she was much younger, regardless as to the circumstances when she had that child. Because we all don't have circumstances where there was a mother and a father and a nice home and 2.5 cars and a white picket fence. In actuality, most of our lives don't even go like that. And most of the time as we come up and we think life is going to be a certain way, and you live the next 20 or 30 years and look back at what you thought it was going to be, it's completely different. And we realize that while we may not be known as this worldly success, having all the things and status that the world says that if you follow the plan of this wicked system, you'll realize one day that you are victorious just to have gotten through the bad boy. That this life is rough. And as soon as things start to go nice and somewhat easy, you know the deal. You start looking out. Things are going too good. What's coming down the pike? That's how it is. But we have to forge on. We have to move forward. But with the pain of a loved one who is addicted to a drug and all of those family members, it creates a void and a black hole. That once we had expectations righteously of this wonderful life, and this thing had to happen. It happened with me and my brother. I always yearned for a brotherly relationship. There have been those who saw that and spotted that void and that need in me and manufactured a false substitute, only to turn around and disappoint you because they never liked you in the first place for who you are. Very envious of you, but I will become that, and I can get into your life and I'll destroy you. We have all types of spirits that are out here, and I tell people, they say, oh, there he is with that spirit thing. I don't mean something walking around going, ooh, it's a ghost over here. I'm not saying that. But you go stick a fork or a knife in the electrical socket and tell me how fast you saw the electricity go through you. You don't see it. You might see a spark, but you don't really see it. And like I say before with everything else, you tell me that this spiritual quackery doesn't make sense. But you who say that understand and you know that you have a Wi-Fi signal you paid for, and if it doesn't work, you call the company up. Do they say you're hallucinating because I don't see a signal? No, you know it's real, but you can't see it. The cell phone signal, the Wi-Fi signal, the radio signals, all different types of unseen things going through you. Wi-Fi. You go to the mall and sit down with your computer, you get the Wi-Fi code and it works. You can't see it. But it's the same way we have positivity and negativity and neutrality, which neutrality is negativity in disguise. And sometimes it's like that man who likes to wear women's clothes and go in drag. Neutrality, which is really based on negativity, can act positive for a time, but it can't make up its mind. It rides the fence. But whatever hand goes into the glove of negativity, that glove of negativity takes the form of that hand and does the actions of it. So I don't want anyone around me who is neutral, because you can be hanging out with negativity the next day and undo all the positive false things that you did the day prior. So to my family, I'm going to wrap down, but I just want to say this, and I had to say this before I went to bed. Do consider the unseen pain. Like you don't see that Wi-Fi signal. Do consider that coworker, that neighbor, that friend, that person who you don't know that you see every day on public transportation. Just consider what they might be going through. They may seem to be okay physically. They may not be the one addicted to a drug or a substance, but somebody in their family might be. And they're bearing the weight and the pain. That while the day looks beautiful and their outfit looks nice and the shoes look nice and they're made up with the hair nice and pretty, that they may have been up all night because their husband got locked up and they had to go bail them out. They haven't had a good night's sleep since because the husband was gone for the last 3 days. And while he's home, she might be wondering if the sound system is going to disappear, if the stash of money that she has might not be there when she gets there. These are the trials and tribulations that you do not know of if you don't have someone who is close to you and addicted to a substance, and especially addicted to crack cocaine. So let's be each other's rehab for each other. It doesn't mean you have to know every gory detail of a person's life, but be that person to be soothing, to bring a kind word, to say, hey, I'm going to the movies today. Come on with me. You don't want to go? No problem. Well, in a couple days, that was Saturday. Sunday, I'm going to go to the mall, walk around. Sometimes when you're going through these things, you don't want to be around happy-looking people. Let them cry on your shoulder. Let them unload what's in them. And just listen sometime. Don't always be the one to want to give advice. You might know it from personal experience, and I'll ordain that if it is. But too many of us read in these magazines what should be done, and you read so much, but you never had your foot in that person's shoes. You don't know the depths of pain. My brother on drugs still hurts. The void in my life still hurts. The last time I saw him, I believe it was September of 1998, and I saw him by chance. Saw him by chance. It was 29th Street off of Broadway. There's a McDonald's on the corner there. I was driving a Lincoln Town car and had celebrities driving them up and down, working for this limo company. And so I had my car to car wash there in the middle of the block. You know, sometimes it looks funny that there is a car wash in the middle of certain crowded New York streets, but it's for situations like that, for people who have to have their cars washed every day. So the guy told me it's going to take about 20 minutes. So I said, okay, I'm going to take a walk and I'm going to come back. And that's when I ran into him. And he was in denial, just acting just as happy as can be. Because that's what will happen when you're addicted to drugs. You'll believe the realities that you put around you and in your mind while everything is getting destroyed around you. So I didn't even treat him funny. I just acted like, okay, everything was okay. And it was weird because toward the end of our conversation, we shook hands, we hugged, and he said, Lancey, you got $5? You have anything you can give me? I gave him $5. He wanted more because he saw what I pulled out. I said, brother, I can't give you no more. I gave you that, and that's a miracle. But I do love you, and I'd like to see everything one day before we leave this earth to be straight. And I know what he was going to do, and I know what he still does. I know how he lives. He always has a roof over his head. There are a lot of low self-esteem women out there who are not doing too good, who just want any old man in their bed. But I understand the rules of those games. I understand street life. I understand every level of it, even though I'm not a street person. I have been schooled in human nature all my life by being exposed to it incrementally by my father and my mother, so I'd never have curiosity on certain things out there. But it still doesn't mean that I won't shed a tear. And I remember when my brother used to come by the house when he wasn't living there, and he was halfway into things, whether it was heroin or crack. And I remember running to the front window as he walked up the street, because he had the gift of gab, and I was always happy to see him as a little boy. And I knew what was going on. It wasn't like I was delusional. I knew more than what my parents allowed me to know, because they didn't know if I could take it or not. And I'd watch my brother walk up the street, and I would cry to myself. I wanted him to be home. I wanted to have a relationship with him. And I never did. And I never did because of the drugs that he used. Long ago it was heroin, and up until the 80s it was crack. And it robbed me, one who is not on a list of being a statistic as far as using or ODing or being in a rehab. I'm innocent of all of those things, but I'm very much affected. So understand that for every statistic that's out there, that other people around them may not be guilty of using those drugs, but they're very much affected emotionally, and those are scars that you can never get away from. Those are things that when you're distracted, you feel good. There's songs that I hear that remind me of my brother when he wasn't on stuff as much. And I say, boy, there's a lot of good times I missed out on. There's a lot of things that I didn't get to do with him. And you know what? In a sense, that was like a living death. Because it kills something in you that you can never share with your family again. So whoever concocted this drug, whoever concocts any drug that is destructive to a family or to a person, if there is a hell, I pray, and I say it not in the Christian sense, I'm just saying it the way I know it, I pray they go to the deepest depths of that place. There is no way you can do something so bad, make profit off of it, and live a good life into eternity. And I just want to let you know, all of you who are out there, I'm in the same place you are. I hurt because of the loss of a loved one who is very much alive. But of course they're not living. And because they're not living, and they're putting themselves at risk every day and every night, that telephone is something I fear ringing. But I'm out here in the motherland, and I kind of cut myself off of all things in America except my immediate family, my immediate blood. And he is that. But I have to look around and say, you know what? In a year and a half, I'm 60 years old. How long am I going to wait? I still hope and I still dream that we can have that, but I cannot stop living my life. I'm not turning my back on him, and I don't suggest that anyone does that to their loved one, whether it's male or female, mother, sister, father, brother, cousin, whoever it may be. But you must have a piece of your life where you get to know it well, and you start to have rhythms with yourself, love yourself more. And I've come to understand many decades ago, after my mother died, that the best thing that I can do for my brother, who I love so much, is to preserve myself so that I'm vibrating at my strongest, so that if he ever comes around and needs me, I can truly help him on so many levels. So we do have the pain. We do have the tears. We will wait for them. We do hope the best for them. But we can't give up on ourselves. So my dear sister who wrote that touching email to me, never give up on your husband, but also never give up on yourself. Keep yourself strong. Keep yourself in a place where you love yourself. You take yourself out sometime. You pamper yourself. You stay strong. You create your own world that when he's straight one day, you can let him in. But only if you know for sure that he's straight. And if he's not, it's going to hurt. But at least you would have salvaged a piece of your life for yourself. I hope somebody has gotten something from those words that I shared. And I'm going to go to bed now. Much love and much peace. Salute to my brothers and much love to my sisters. Lancescurv out. On to the next one. Leave me a few comments to let me know how you feel. Take care. Bye-bye.